Hello, everyone. I am waiting on Hannah to join. I know that she's well on her way. Kat says hi. He's kind of nervous. So, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thank you for joining Caspernova. Oh, goodness. Okay, he says, hi, Arnold. Arnold is ready. Oh, is Arnold going to be playing? Did you pour something out for him? Yeah, because he's just like, you better. Okay, now he's found his confidence again. He was just like, give my man a drink. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Slash, if any of you don't know who I'm talking to and I keep referring to Kat, that's Spooktastics, and I hope you're already following her. I love how you describe how and a ghost followed me home. Like that's how you describe Arnold. I'm like, I mean, that's a very basic way to describe that. He could have some bubble water. That's what you got. That's fair. That's fair. Thanks for the crown. I saw it like and Salt Wife Spanish Moss. Hello, how are you? Slash every now and then I'll get like a random request. They're like, I'm going to Savannah. What should I see? I'm like, you need to check out a tour with Eni. Like, that's what you need to do. Yes, Hannah.
There's my friend. Hello. Can you hear
Hello.
me? Is it doing, I forgot, I don't have am I all echoey again?
You sound fine to me. Commenters weigh in. How does Hannah sound?
How do I sound? Do you like my sultry voice? What do you want me to say? Hey, I hope you really had a great day. I hope you had a wonderful day. You know what? I am extremely proud of you. You
You're reminding me of
just
the line.
every time you walk into a room, you light up that room. Every head turns to look at you and your ethereal grace. And truly, I marvel every time I see you. Is that good?
See,
How's my sound check?
that was perfect. I was definitely there for that. Also, for anybody who's like, are you dressed? Like somebody asked if I was dressed like I was from Les Mis. Actually, this is what I wear when I do reenactment skits of Jimothy. So I am dressed in honor of him, which he also kind of hates. It's kind of like a sibling
Incredible.
thing.
Hold on. Should we?
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yes.
we should. Yeah. Let me put on my ghost outfit. Every time I make one of these, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And then I realize I have such a fun life and it's not as bad. And you know what? I have a brother with a beard, and I like that the fact that my beard is made over from scraps from a Chewbacca costume that I made.
It's good.
So really, it's just like, it's Chewbacca beard, and I love it. It's so good.
He doesn't know who Chewbacca is, and I feel like a failure. We've gone through every Marvel film, and we have not gone through every Star Wars film. I don't think we've even gone through one, and or at least not one with Chewbacca. And now I feel like a failure. Like I feel like I have not been properly educating him. So thank you.
That's okay.
I'm
That's
gonna add
okay. We
that.
can turn him into a Trekkie. It will take much more effort.
A lot more time. If I could just while I'm working, if I can like leave the TV on and just have that go for the entire time, I think that would be good. I have friends whose ghosts will like watch their TV and stuff like that. Like they'll come on and like their TV will be on and they're just like, oh, they're watching the so and so show.
Yeah, I have one of my ghosts, John, popped in one time, and he was like, because a lot of times whenever we're just home, now I look like Abe Lincoln. That's funny. Oh God. Every now and then we'll have like a live stream of like birds or whatever, just playing on the TV, where it's like, yeah, I just need like a minute. I just need some noise happening in the background that's not like pop music or a TV show, because then I get invested and then I just stand there for long periods of time. I was like, but I can sit here and I can listen to the birds. And I had John come in and he was like, Why are they on the screen? You have a bird feeder. They're right there. You could just stand at the window, but instead you have them on this screen. They're not even your birds. Look at your birds. And I was like, you don't get it. You're not from this time, John. It's because we're in here and it's cold and weird out there that they can stay there and we can stand here and it's fine. Also, none of the birds will let me pick them up, and that is an issue for me. There's this mourning dove that came over, and it likes to get real close to me and it'll go, ooh, ooh. And every single time I'm like, one day, I'm just gonna, and I'm just gonna pick it up and I'm just gonna love it forever. My uncle has a bird named Soka. He's a parrot, and he goes, Mark, at 6 o'clock every single morning. That's how he wakes up. That's how the whole thing wakes up. He goes, Mark. It's so loud. It just rings throughout that Mark. And for a while, I really wanted, I really wanted to inherit this bird. But then a couple of years ago, he ran into a ceiling fan and he's got a couple of his marbles knocked loose. So he's not as good of a bird. And now apparently my uncle got a cat. And now Soka is so jealous that he's dive bombing my uncle and his wife and the cat. And they have him in a little cage like he's a toddler in timeout until he learns the hierarchy of the house again. And I'm like, maybe I don't want the bird. Maybe I don't want the bird.
This sounds like a personal problem.
Also, birds require so much love and attention, and I am here for it. But I also work crazy hours. So it's like, do I have time to make sure that a bird doesn't go, Mark, in the background of all of my videos? And I feel like I just don't.
That's fair. That's. I feel like you've thought this out a lot, and
I have spent an absorbent number of hours thinking about what I would be like if I owned a bird. And the answer is more obnoxious than I am, which is more than the world can tolerate right now. So maybe in the future. Hello, everybody. Hi, babe. Hi. Thank you for coming in. You are welcome to be in the house. So, yeah.
I wanted to say to my commenters, yes, this a Lord of the Rings. Are you gonna sit in him? Is that this? This is common. Okay, my cat's just like, who am I gonna sit in today? And there he goes. Yep. Okay. Wow. That's what he does. He prefers to actually sit on ghost heads, like if somebody's laying down or.
Your cat is so spoiled. He's like, I can, you know, plush and like air mattress and foam material. No. I need ethereal padding. I need
He's got a lot
spectral
so many
padding.
options.
That is the only thing that can, allow me to reach peak rest.
Timothy's like, I like him. He's just kind of like, this is good. So yeah, to everybody who's saying I need to have a Lord of the Rings marathon, a Star Trek marathon, and a Star Wars marathon, I agree with you. And I will do this for Jimothy. Oh, he's. It was like, is it like the Marvel movies, like Captain America or Black Panther? Those are his two favorite. And I'm like,
incredible.
Sort of. Like, there are good guys and bad guys, I guess. And there's fighting. He likes fighting. He likes flying things. That's another thing that I'm seeing. So yeah, cool. Thank you all for the idea, and I will do that. Though tonight I'm gonna segue into this. Welcome everybody to Caspernova.
Caspernova! Things are about to get a little bit sussy.
I just literally just right up his face. So
we can't beat him up. We need unless it's us trying to knock some sense into him. We can't beat him up. Hello, Jimothy. How are you? We are going to try. I'm going to try my best not to completely blow your mind.
And
no promises though.
For anybody tuning in, basically what we were doing, this is an idea the last time that the two of us went live, Hannah gave incredible dating advice to Jimothy, who has been seeing a lovely young lady downtown. She's from late 1920s, from our understanding. He's been very, very patient with her. She's still regaining some of her speech after a very traumatic life, and we're all very much working with her on that, and she's doing so much better. Her name is Fanny. I've mentioned her a few times before. And really with this, it started out as people on your side, when you would flirt with the screen, that's when people, it used to be a drinking game. So we were like, hey,
The
hello.
early HannahSeries days. And I say early as in I've only been making TikToks for 2 years. So for all 2 years, it has been. Everybody just wants to be a part of it.
She's just like, are
Absolutely
you
incredible.
talking to people? Yeah, this is Rosie. We started fostering her a little while ago. She's officially a foster fail. And she's wearing a
Aww.
t-shirt this evening. So
Incredible. She's so cute. Hello. Hello, puppy.
yeah, she can smell ghosts. We found that out. She doesn't always see them, but she smells them.
That's so fun.
What is it? Jimothy smelled like soap, right? It was like one of those old not smelly soaps, but very practical soaps. Like from lard, apparently.
Like ivory or something like that.
He's like, I smell clean until I don't.
So yes, on my channel, it has always been a running gag. There was this period in my life known as the Mambo number 5,000 because 5 names was not enough. It was after my college sweetheart and I broke up when she turned down my proposal. Ooh, scandal. And I decided to give casual dating a go. And turns out I was so good at it. I was incredible at it. And I ended up dating 40 women in the span of a year and a half. I was going on like 2 dates a week. I'm very charming. I don't know if you know this. I'm very charming. So,
she knows.
So
She's
I
already
have
like, yes.
some very successful dating advice that I have proven over the years. And now I use it on my wonderful partner, whose name is also Hannah. She's in the chat right now. She's Hannah backwards, so everybody be nice to my girlfriend. She's here with her friends, and hello everybody. But yeah, on lives it used to be like, I would just say things because I used to do like poetry and chill kind of nights, and sometimes those poems would be pickup lines, or I'd tell a story about like who it's about or like why I wrote that poem. And I was like, oh, a lot. Probably too many of the poems were like, yeah, I wrote that as a pickup line and it worked, like 100% success rate. So when I would say these things, like where somebody would be in the comments, I would just flirt to camera. And so we just turned it into a drinking game. We're just like, oh my God, every time you feel the quaking, you must take a drink. Or like every time you get nervous or you get butterflies or something, or Hannah flirts to the camera, take a drink. And let me tell you, my lives, people were getting so hydrated. So beverage of your choosing, just know you're going to be taking a lot of sips tonight, and I am here for it. Incredible.
We do have some rules, but before I go into that, just some, if you need a reason to partake of any beverage that you may have, we have some suggestions. My mods, Kat and Lisa, both have especially Lisa, it's weird calling you by your name because you know that's not my name for you. But they have the set of rules, but I'm just gonna say from the gate, if you are expecting any level of sanity in this, if you're gonna sit there and be like, I don't see the ghost, then you are in the wrong live, okay? Mm-hmm. This is for fun. I am channeling folks. No one has to believe me. If you want to sit there and be like, this is wild, I don't believe a thing, but I'm having such a good time. Bingo, that's what we want. We want laughter. We want good times. I'm not sitting here trying to be like, there's life after death and you have to believe what I believe because my beliefs. I'm not that kind of person. Because I've seen a few comments of like, wait, what is this about? There are ghosts. And I'm like, exactly. What is this about? That is what it's about. It's about
Don't expect this to be like mediums and clairvoyants have like any sort of psychic ability. People usually have like this really big stereotype of like, I am so serious, I'm tapped, it's the fucking Matrix, like I'm tapped in to the spirit world at all times. There's like I am tapped in, there's a ghost, there's a ghost, there's a ghost, I am in the zone, you cannot break my concentration, everybody hold hands. And that's not what we're trying to do here. I am quite literally going to be giving dating advice to a ghost because I am a lesbian, and I think it would be grand for him to know how to actually woo a lady in proper form, given my expertise. So if you're expecting this to be a very serious thing where we're like talking about all of these different things, then I feel like the expectation is this is going to be fun and funny and ridiculous. We are both aware of it, and you should also be aware of it.
And now that that's understood, I have the rules. I don't know if you have them in front of you. I can read them.
They are on my phone, and I am using that to do this.
Okay. So I will read them out for everybody. And everybody, since we don't have those rules available for you all the time, I'm just going to trust that when something happens, for anybody who remembers when to drink whatever beverage you choose, put it in the chat and just yell out drink, and we're just going to trust everybody and lose our minds tonight. So we have 10 rules.
Wait, hold on. I have somebody in my comments here. How did you not know I was a lesbian?
They thought you were in a relationship with your vacuum.
Oh, Pippin? No, he's my son. I gave birth to him. He went straight automatically out. It was a whole big deal. And then he cleaned up the mess afterwards. It was a very effective birth.
When one lesbian moves in with another lesbian, you get a vacuum cleaner. That's what happens.
You get Gal Pals. They were friends and they were roommates for all of history.
So now
my roommate and I live in a 1-bedroom house. There's only a king-size bed.
Oh my goodness. I actually had this conversation with somebody's spirit guide today. They knew them from a previous life. I was doing a reading, and it was very much that situation. I think it was hundreds of years ago where they like knew each other, where that relationship was started or something, and they were just like, and the kids just accepted it after a while. And I'm like, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
incredible.
So these rules,
can you move in with me? Unfortunately, I'm already taken. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. You tell the rules while I go get my drink.
Okay. So the rules. Number 1, your drink doesn't have to be alcoholic because we're not gonna sit here and no. You can do whatever you want. Drink water if you want. And number 2, when Hannah flirts with the camera, you drink. Okay. Number 3, when one of us. What?
Which will be often.
If you want to consider that as a drink, you can go ahead and take one. And number 3, when one of us curses, drink. Number 4, when Jimothy, who is over here with the cat laying in his lap, gets uncomfortable. However way, and I will let you know, unless I know some of you on the chat also do readings on your own. So, yep, if he gets uncomfortable, we drink. Rupert, who is over here, and oftentimes people will actually see his shadow sometimes in the doorway, which is super cool. If he rolls his eyes, which I will be tracking on the eye rolling, that's when we drink, okay? If Rupert gets uncomfortable, finish your drink. So I'm trusting you, Hannah. At some point, you're going to say something, and I'm going to be like, oh, damn it.
Oh, darling, I'm going to say many things tonight, all of which are going to be blush-worthy.
He rolled his eyes. Okay. So...
Off to a great start.
Yeah, he's like... See, both of them, considering their time period, both of them are kind of like, what do we learn from a woman? And I'm like... I'm gonna leave it at that. But okay, so if one of your ghosts shows up, and we're gonna trust you to let us know, we drink. If other Hannah is spotted, Hannah spelled backwards, that is when we drink. if your audio cuts out, usually if Christopher is around, we drink. And if my internet connection messes up, usually because Jimothy gets excited, then we drink. So those are the rules. If it's uncomfortable, if somebody curses, flirting with camera, rolling of eyes, internet connection weirdness, ghost showing up, that is when we drink. We're trusting the commenters say some things. And yeah, I've got some fine Tennessee Williams out for Jimothy and Rupert to partake. And then I've got various rums that I put into a single mug.
Various rums.
I love rum.
Goodness.
I live in a
friend. You're gonna need to pace yourself. Trust me. I have Rheingeist Blitzberry, which is a wonderful fruit sour, local brewery.
Love it. Supporting local.
Incredible.
Yes. So
it tastes like Kool-Aid beer, and I love it.
Okay, I think we're ready to start this officially. Are you ready?
I am always ready. I was born for this day.
I have a first question for you, and then we're gonna get into advice. Just for any straight male who might be watching this live, and they're like, "What do I learn from a lesbian woman identifying person about dating women?" What would you say to them?
This is your opportunity to listen and to become an expert by the end of this. I have stories. I am extremely successful at this craft. It might do you well to learn from me.
I love the ellipsis. It's just kind of like, you will learn something.
Yeah, because like this dating advice isn't just for dead people.
This is for everybody.
These are things that have worked.
But it's for everybody. Everybody should learn something from this. We all
everybody can learn something. We all can learn something tonight.
Drink.
Take a drink.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Jimothy if he has a question in particular. Buddy, I think you should have a swig or something, because he's kind of like, I don't know. Okay.
You don't need to be nervous around me. I'll be gentle with you.
You don't need it. He's like, she speaks different, like low.
It's sultry.
I don't think he's ever. Have you not been talked to like that before? He's like, well, I don't. Not from. Oh, that's what he's referring to. So women who would work in a particular trade as accountants during the time that he was alive, they would sometimes speak that low, and that's what he's attributing. He's just like, makes me uncomfortable. Okay, she's not trying to. It's a way of speaking. Okay, now I'm uncomfortable, so I'm gonna drink because of that. Okay. Here's a question. He says, say you have a pause, like you're talking, and then you just kind of pause, and then nothing's said, and then it just feels weird. What do you do?
Ooh, my favorite way of getting into conversation and then also pacing conversation is making observations. So the way in which you can start a conversation is you stand next to somebody, right? You stand next to somebody and then you say, wow, look at that thing. This is my observation about it, right? And then as you talk side to side, eventually it becomes a secret between the two of you. So then you ask a question, be like, oh, what do you think about this? Like, let's say that, you're standing in a art gallery or something, or you're watching something happening in a bar. The way to break into conversation is to be like, oh my gosh, did you see, what do you think about, like, I love how the red works in this piece of art, right? The red is so expressive, and usually the person, even if they're polite, movement, something specific to where they have to think about it, and it's not just being polite. They actually have to contribute to conversation. You do question and answer tag that way, and then eventually you ask them something personal, or they will reveal something personal. And so then you can turn it to them, and then instead of talking about the thing, you talk about each other. And it's an exchange of vulnerabilities. I give you information, and in exchange, you give me information, and you tag team that way. And so when there's a lull in conversation, either you can feel the energy between the two people and you can sit in that silence, but make it louder. Like you can make it emotionally louder, or you can make an observation about something, get a response, ask a personal question or something that requires a personal response. And then that's how you can repace your conversation.
Uh, Thank you. That is an excellent answer. Um, don't know if you noticed, my internet popped. That was him because as you were saying stuff, you were talking about inspiration from the world around you. Well, I know what he was talking about. At 24, where Fanny is, or where she tends to be, she's not there like 24/7. But there was a recent, they have works from local artists. And there was a recent artist that had parts of human anatomy, um, particular parts of human anatomy. And it was very artistically done. And he got like upset because he was like, am I supposed to talk about the naked women on the wall?
You don't have to, you can say it in a really, not be like, wow, I really love those naked ladies, you know? You don't have to say it like that. You can be like, the figures express this emotion. It's all about like spinning it, right? So instead of being like, I like this, be like, I like this specific thing because.
Like the colors.
So
Yeah, or some
I
of them
like
had
the
flowers.
colors. I like how the lines are expressive. I wonder what the artist was trying to express through this work. So make it more intellectual versus physical.
And that's really classy thing to do. Like if you go over there and you look up at the art and you ask, like, hey, I really think this about this piece, but that's just me. What do you think about this piece? And she may not speak as much, but she has been speaking more. So just let her emote. That's usually a very strong feeling. A lot of people can pick up on the emotive something of spirits, just like a lot of people are empath nowadays. It works the same way. So yeah, yeah, okay. He likes that because he's like, yeah, because if I talk about art, I'm gonna look like a fancy man. Like, yes, you
Yes,
will.
yes. And there's also ways to like take the quiet to your advantage. So instead of using your words to communicate, you could use your whole body to communicate, not in the way that you're thinking, but like you could but like a lot of times what I did whenever I was flirting with girls in college. Gosh, oh, my phone is about to die. Why are you about to die? Don't do that. Hello? Hello?
We can all drink
Are
to
you
phone dying.
hello? All right, do it. Hold on. Yeah, okay, I heard it. But no, like the way that you can do that is that like instead of like saying like would you like to hold hands or like let's go over this way, you could always I mean extend an arm. I'm always one for formality because formality in a very informal age seems so much more sophisticated and alluring. So like offer an arm or like hold out your hand or, walk somewhere and then like tilt your head to come and have her follow or something like that. But make sure that your attention is centered on the person and not like you're not telling her what to do. It's like you're trying to suggest that you are taking lead in this dance of conversation.
Um, So one, he said that he always understood that if you want to walk with a woman, you should offer your arm, which I think is correct. Uh, but two, he said something. It was quiet, but I think this is something really good to go over because he said, "How do you know if she wants to do something, but she doesn't say it outright?" So I think part of this is going into the land of consent. And I don't mean like to do all the things. No, consent works in many different, I know you know this, but consent works in many different boundaries, anything from holding a hand to, do you want to walk with me? And I think that's more of what he's saying. Or even just like simple things of, do you want me to stay? Do you want me to leave? Like that kind of thing. So, in a perfect world, I think consent would always be a yes or no. And I think this leads itself to a further understanding of what are other kinds of consent, what are options there. This is turning into a very important. This is such a good question. Like this, because he cares so much. But yeah, what they perhaps body language, other things. That's kind of like the whole gist of the question. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can just ask her. It's not improper to ask. It's not be like, or you could take a lead and make a decision. Like if it's you can't tell if she wants you to stay or not, you can take the out and you can say, all right, well, I will see you tomorrow, or I hope I get to see you again soon, but I will leave you to the rest of your day. And if she wants you to stay, then so there's two options that come with this, with like taking the leave and bowing out when you're unsure. One, you don't break any boundaries if you just leave and stop. Stopping is always a great option. Two, if she agrees to be like, oh yes, I can't wait to see you again, like something like that, then you have one, you've stopped it when there was momentum, but you also have another date planned. So you have the momentum is set to continue. Or she can stop you from stopping and be like, no, wait, actually, I would like to do this, and would actually be like a an indicator for her to take lead on something. In which case you would then follow her. And it's like this fun little like power dynamic where you shift who's in control, and it creates equality in that relationship.
Okay, other question, and this is something that some folks are talking about in the comments, which I also think is very good. Um, so I remember growing up and thinking, oh, the romantic way to kiss a woman is what they do in the black and white movies, where like they grab her and they're just like, boom. So, and here's something that I remember when Jay and I started dating decades ago. Well, decade ago. Um, he asked if he could kiss me first. And I remember at the time I was like, oh, this is so not romantic, because I had never been asked that before because nobody had respected that. So if you were to ask someone if it was okay for you to kiss them, how would you do that in a way that is fantastically romantic?
Which story?
Ready.
Which story do I think?
I've got my drink ready.
Which one? Which one? There was one time. So my first girlfriend, her name was Tori. We met at sleepaway softball camp. She was a pitcher and I was a catcher. This is like they should write a Disney movie about my relationship. It was crazy. It was off again, on again for like 5 years. It was like this whole big thing. And the I didn't kiss her because it was like the last day of camp. We would like write poetry back and forth to each other, but I never kissed her. And then it became like long distance and whatever. So it was like my one true regret in life. And so one time I was at college and my friend had their friend visiting from somewhere else. And she was very pretty. I do not remember what her name is. It is unimportant at the moment.
You had so many.
But I spent like the whole night building up to this moment. So it's all about like building, like crescendoing to a kiss. So you build up that intimacy, And at the end, like, we were sitting on these warm vents outside of my dorm. It was in the middle of the night. Our friend had like gone back up to her room, and I was just like hanging out with this girl. And I read her the Moon poem. So if you remember from last live that we did together, I've always been a poet, and it has worked in my favor for most of my life. But I read her a poem, and I was like, hey, I just like wrote this poem. I want to share it with you. And it always feels like you're presenting a secret. And so I was like, I really love to share a poem with you. And they're like, okay. It's like, well, it's about the moon. So like, look at the moon, right? So you can like envision this, right? So then she looks up at the moon, and I read the poem, because you always want to make your voice lower and quieter so that they have to be more focused in on hearing what you're saying. So then you speak more quietly, and you say, the man in the moon is a face so familiar. A frown at first, a smile later. But if watched for many moments past, his eyes slightly shift, his mouth stirs slow. Hear me, he cries. In a loud bellow he yells. You will have many loves and dream many dreams, but keep in perspective the true meaning of things. And with his departing words full in the air, his face becomes a sliver, and then poof, not there. And as your final words hang in the air, like the last line of that poem, she looked at me and said, because we had talked about filmmaking, I went to film school. It's all about eye contact and low voices and a leaning in. And so once you're done saying that, she turns back and realizes the poem was about her. The words you're saying, the beautiful words you're saying, almost feel as though they're being inspired directly by her. Even though you wrote them in the past, they are for her, imprinted on her heart, on your lips now. And you lean in. We're talking about filmmaking. And I was like, my favorite part about filmmaking is all of the behind the scenes stuff. The fact that you can see magic happen from an idea to a reality. And I have chosen to live my life in that magic, living that experience where I get to choose how I make something unfurl, make something happen, make what was just an idea, a crazy notion to some, a reality. And my one regret is that I didn't kiss someone when I wanted to. And I don't want to have any more regrets. Can I kiss you? And then, of course, after that, you lean in and you make out. It's great.
My whole chat right now is like, I didn't think I liked women, but now I'm not so sure. You can see what I do when I get flustered, because I'll just sit there and I'm like, the words, like.
Your face is so red right now.
Okay.
So I did that, and then like, sometimes you can just turn it into a big event where like it's all about just break. Oh, I did this great move. Oh, for Halloween one time. Oh man, it was incredible. I've never been able to replicate it, and I don't want to because I don't need to, because my partner is wonderful and lovely, and I should do this with her. But I was at a Halloween party in like downtown college town, right? And like my friends were the kind who was like, let's go dancing. And so we go out, and I don't dance, but I like to mingle around with all the people. I would play bodyguard. And so like I would go up to the bartender and be like, hey, I'm playing third wheel for my friends. Like, can I just hang out here and talk with you? And then I'd end up getting the bartender's number. It used to be a thing where like my friends and I would play, like we'd have like movie marathon days, and it would be like the time before when we went out together, we would watch as many movies as numbers as I would get, and we had to cap it at 3 after like 2 weeks because I was getting like 6 or 7 numbers a night. It was like a little too extra. But one time it was a Halloween party, and like, I don't know, I think I was dressed up as Harry Potter. It was like a really bizarre way to flirt with somebody. I didn't be like, Accio, your ass, you know? It wasn't. But like, I was like, stood next to this girl, and I was like talking about my friends who were dancing, and they were all drunk, and it was great. And I made an observation, and she made an observation. And then what I did is, they came towards me in this like mob of dancing, and I slid around her. Like I was on this side, I slid around her, put my hand on her hip and left it there as I walked behind her. And then I had my arm around her. And then we could continue the conversation from there. And then when there was a beat in the song where like she like, it's all about vibes. This was like a given consent thing. So what after that, and then I made another observation. I was facing her, but she was still facing away. And then she turned into me and then kissed me. The setup. The setup is great. It's setup payoff. That's really what it is.
My whole chat is gay for you now. I'm just letting you know. Like, everybody's like, one, they're just all falling down. Two, from earlier, Jimothy has a request, and this was actually very kind. Rupert, part of my expression is also hearing them going back and forth. Jimothy was like, I want a poem, but I want it in simple language so that I know what I'm saying and I can remember it. And then there was a little bit of like, I have to brush up on my reading. And Rupert actually offered, he was like, I'll read it to you a few times to help.
Incredible. I mean, it's all about acting. It doesn't matter what the words say. It's all about how you present them. So like one of my big pickup lines was that I would recite Shakespeare. So I don't remember what sonnet it is, but I sure as heck remember the words. It's, shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds May, and summer's lease hath all too short date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed by fate or changing course on whatever, something. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose that fair thou owest, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. And then you linger. That's the gift. That's the setup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the response is the payoff.
Okay. So you got
that has a 100% success rate, I should say.
You got attention from both of them on that one, by the way. So I'm gonna drink to that because Rupert was like, Shakespeare, and I was like, yeah, you know of, and he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna leave out some sonnets and let the guys go. They're gonna have guidance like that. But something from before. Yeah, he liked the sonnet. Jimothy in particular, he liked the sonnet. He was like, oh, yeah, that sounds fancy, and she's a fancy girl. And the other thing he said was, can you help him to write a poem? But instead of talking about not kissing someone, you know, when there was a moment to do that, he's like, can you talk about it, but make it like talking about how I didn't kiss somebody before I died? That's literally what he said. He was like, "Can you talk about how I wanted to
instead of life's last breath upon my lips, I wish it were yours."
Ooh. He giggled. He flat out. He was just like, oh, like.
I didn't write that. That was just like in my brain, and now it's yours.
And now it's yours. Hope you remember that. He was like, breath. And now he's like, Rupert, do you remember that? And Rupert's like, I think.
Did Rupert black out?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is a good opportunity for anybody who's like, because some people are like, oh, he never got kissed. This is a good opportunity to note that, and I say this often, spirits have a choice, and if anybody's going to be moving on, it is always a choice, and it's never for any of us to force them on. So for anybody who's like, oh, he should move on and get reincarnated so that he can do that, he's learning a lot right now, and he's growing as a soul right now in his own way, and kind of having the second life. And he has a lot of friends out at the fort. He has Arnold, who's with Kat now, and yeah, that's what he's doing. So at some point, I don't know, he might come up and be like, I'm gonna pop into a body again, and I don't know what that's gonna be like, but it's gonna be cool. But for right now, he's like, I like walking around and seeing new stuff and talking to Fanny, and she's a real nice lady. Like, so there can be there can be hope, I guess. But
See, the best thing is like just talking with somebody, like it doesn't, trying to simplify the conversation down of like, it doesn't have to be like, we are going to this place, we're going to talk about these things, it's going to take this amount of time. Or like the conversation has to be regimented. I need to talk about these things. The best way to do it is, if you don't know what to talk about yourself, and say it in such a way, like, but like, I'm gonna drink on that one. But like, talk about your dreams and your aspirations and who you want to be, how you're growing. Because for women, it's the emotional advancement that is really intriguing. So it's less about like, you want to go around the corner and make out a little. It's more like, tell me about your dreams. How did did you have a good relationship with your mom? Like, are you more of a cat person or a dog person? It's like that. So like, you can talk about your dreams, but incorporate her into that idea of the future, and that is romantic.
I would also, I'm gonna second, he said something about his mother, like something or another. He was just like, oh, I like my mama, I can talk about her. But then, okay, now it's going into, but I don't think she liked her mama, and I don't want to make her feel bad. It's like, well, you can talk about the farm.
Yeah.
That was a mixed response. He was like, the chickens. You can talk about the chickens. Maybe she had chickens. I don't know.
Well, what kind of emotional response did what did the chickens teach you? So instead of being like, I had chickens, be like, I really liked having chickens because I like being able to take care of things. It's important to me that I can provide and make sure that the things they take care of are happy.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just like saying, I have chickens, include the emotional response in with the information.
And there's two sides of this. One, he's like, you mean like why I joined the war? So one, we know that the particular side of the war that he fought on was fighting for a not good cause. And we've talked about this in detail, and he understands that, and he's actually very woke for a man who served on that side. That being said, I think it's important to note the reason why you personally joined, because I know for him, one, he was fed the propaganda of, if you don't join, you lose your farm, they come down here and they take your farm. That was propaganda. Two, part of it was the draft. But three, he wanted to be able to protect his mother in particular. He wanted to be able to send money home to his mom, and he really wanted to make her proud. And so, being in a uniform was something that, he always saw as, oh yeah, mom would be proud of me because I'm making sure that she's safe. So that could be something.
Yes.
I think focus on those points, and then if other things come up, you can talk about how woke you are and how many documentaries we've watched on the subject of the Civil War. We haven't gone through all the Ken Burns, but we probably will.
Here.
Oh, Christopher's here?
Christopher is here.
Cheers.
Somebody said there's a lady behind you that has her hand up like she's asking a question or something, or has something to say. Is she wearing a purple crew neck and like light wash jeans and white sneakers? And does she look like me? Because that is the 80s lady, but Christopher's sitting next to me, and he's interested in what we're doing. It's okay. We're just on live. But no, I don't feel there's definitely something else here. John's not here right now. He keeps like popping in and out. Christopher's sitting on this side of me. With like he's like leaning back. I'm sorry about that, but he's like leaning back and he's like doing that. And there's someone in the dining room that I can't quite. Oh, just walked over here. So it probably is the 80s lady. She usually likes walking that path. But if anybody sees her or feels her or anything, you let me know.
So you say that, and then I'm just like, I could tap in, and then I'm like, wow, I feel drink. Ah, that's fine. I'll do it anyway. And now I'm like, I need to be on live. Because I started to, and I was like, oh, there she is. And then I was like, wait. If I start doing that, I'm not going to be able to do the other things I need to do. So, I'm going. Okay, I'm gonna ask Jimothy if it's okay. I don't think Rupert has a question, but I'm just gonna open it up just in case. Okay. He's kind of like,
Ooh.
Yeah. He's like, okay, yeah. I think Rupert might have good ideas. Okay, so they're usually kind of like, poking at each other and brotherly love over here. Rupert, do you have something to add? Wow. Okay. He was like, do you think I need assistance? I, uh,
Incredible.
No, that wasn't me saying, oh man, step up. Like, I just thought it was... He's thinking. Uh, uh, okay, he's calling me out for, always laughing when I start, like, feeling anything, like, any sort of, romantic words or something like that, because I don't know how to function and I'm an Aquarius, so any feelings of mine just like usually laugh themselves out if they make themselves known at all. I don't know if it's a real question. He was like, how do you make a woman stop laughing when she's just uncomfortable and you're trying to when you're trying to be romantic and she won't stop making stupid jokes? That's basically what he said. Sure, let's go with that. So let's say you're with somebody and they just suck at functioning, I guess, and they're just really awkward. What do you do with that?
It doesn't always have to center around a person. It could be you and you then allowing them entrance into whatever you're doing. So it's the inclusion that is the romantic aspect. So either you are actively going out to include them or you are allowing them to passively be included. So you can be like, well, I'm going to go do this thing, and they can sit and watch or watch you with other people. Or, hold on, like I'm being touched. Knock it off. Stop. Or you could, I don't know, bring something to them and then match their energy. So if you're both feeling a little bit awkward, create a game. Like create a scenario outside of the scenario that you're in. One time I had a crush on a girl in college. Go figure. And what I did, because to my knowledge, she was straight. And so what I did was I relearned how to write cursive. And I wrote her a poem dear intended, sincerely anonymous. And like the stanzas were structured like that, like a letter, a poetic letter. And then I like put it in an envelope and I stuck it in her key slider thing, because I knew she would be up early. So she would be the first one to find it. And so when she found it, I gave her 2 more letters. So it was a set of 3. And then the last one, I revealed who I was. But so her name was Taylor. And I would like randomly invite her, be like, you seem like you need a study break. And she's like, you know what? Yeah, I could take a break. And I was like, let's go on an adventure. Because everybody loves adventures, right? Anytime that you can have a secret between the two of you, however manufactured, however like blown out of proportion, like don't do murder, but like be like, ooh, it's like a little cheat day. Like we can go like get smoothies or something. Like anything you have something that like is like separate from the group, a little bit of a secret, of vulnerability with each other is always key. But one time we went on a walk and I was like, let's go get cookies from Subway and then walk around outside, right? And it was like a loop. We're going around and like as we walk by some like statues or something like that, we get towards the track area of campus. And I was like, what if we just like broke into the track? And of course, it's just like a fence. Like you could easily jump over it. It wasn't like a big deal. And so I was like, what if we just like break into it? And she's like, no. I was like, come on, it'll be great. It'll be a fun adventure. And so like we hopped the fence and then I was like, okay, I don't know I don't know if we're allowed in here. I don't know if we're allowed in. So we're like ducking behind like the mats that they do for the pole vaulting. Like we're like army crawling down the track. And we're like, we don't know if we're going to be observed. It doesn't matter. We would not get in trouble were we to get caught doing this. But eventually it ended up with like us falling like or like getting up onto one of the mats, and it was like exhausting playing pretend this way, but like we just laid there and we looked up at the stars, and then I just asked her like, what's the craziest dream you ever had? And I just like we just talked about that and questions back and forth. So you could create a scenario that isn't like real, a play scenario that you can both be out of your own character for a minute. That way it allows you to be as characters vulnerable with each other instead of having to do it as people. Because eventually, once you trust enough, then there's aspects of your person in your character. And if you trust enough, then you're willing to be vulnerable with the person as people.
Okay. Love it. Jimothy was getting ideas as well because he was like, oh yeah, that'd be like a fun date, like, you know, running around and, you know, trying to hide from people. Whereas we have Rupert over here, he has the essence of the drink and he's kind of like up against the door frame, just doing it occasionally. And he said, I don't hide from people.
Oh, God. Jesus. Okay.
It's also difficult for him to do when like in full he's closing in on 6'6", which also during the colonial period would have made him basically a giant. So
yes, that makes him a giant now. That's so tall.
I know. I found out for the times where he was walking me home, in 2020, he actually stooped over a lot because he didn't want to scare me with how tall he was. And I was still learning.
So he just loomed over you instead? That's so much scarier.
Go down a bit, and like that's pretty much what he would do, and I'd be like, oh, okay, you're tall. And then like finally the other day, I was with my friend Sorsha, and she was just like, how tall are you? And then she's about how tall as I am, and like her arm just kept going up and up and up, and she's like, wow. And I was like, wow, and that was the time we were still living in the bus too, so if he was going to be walking around in the bus, he's hunched over, otherwise his head would go through the roof. So for the longest time I was like, oh, he's tall, you know? But then I found out, oh, he's tall.
He's very tall. Incredible.
Yeah. He liked your advice. I can tell from the emotive output that he's doing. He's like, yes, wear the person down so that you can speak plainly. And I'm like, I guess, if that's what you're going to take from that.
I mean, not like that. But
Yeah,
but
not like
kind
that. No, 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 no.
but
Like as
not
in,
like that. Yes, but not like that.
like nervous energy. That's what he's referring to, not
Oh yeah.
like that. Thank you for clarifying on that. But yeah, he found that entertaining. But he's just kind of just doing this a little bit, drinking occasionally. He's like, well. um. Oh my goodness. Okay, so great advice. Great advice. I'll ask you. Is there some kind of story or advice or something like that you want to share with anybody, with the world? I mean, with
With the world.
yeah, just anything.
Uh Confidence is the most attractive thing that you could possibly do. Like I am not afraid to like approach somebody. It's always hard. Like I don't know if you can tell, but I am a hypersocial extrovert. Meaning that I can there's this philosophy that happens, like my friends and I have like talked about this, that no matter where I go, a crowd will form. There have been times where like my friends used to work at a hookah bar, and like I'd go there and it'd be like, I'd help them close a little bit, and they'd send me out to bars to see what the crowd was, see if we could get a table or something. I was like, I'm gonna go make friends, and they're like, okay. So I would go, and these are regular places that I was, like bartenders knew me and stuff like that, and like there were a couple of regulars that I knew and I would say hi to, but it always end up where like I'd walk around and I'd just feel out the crowd, and then something would catch my eye, or someone, or I would overhear a bit of conversation, and I would include myself into that immediately. I'd be like, I'm sorry, what did I just hear? And like you always pitch it as a joke, like I was eavesdropping, but now I'm invested.
It's
So
something he's like, I do that too. I just don't say it well. See him butt into a conversation, just being like, "Ha! I heard what you were saying, and I thought I would stand here too."
incredible. You gotta be smooth about it, but yeah. So like I jump into conversations a lot, or like again, that make an observation about something happening and then include your like a little bit of personality in with it. So like here's my observation of a thing that is happening, the statement of thing that is happening, my observation. And they're like, oh yeah, you were also observing this thing? Where it's like, yeah, I'm Hannah. Who are you? And then they will tell you their name, and then you have now closed the gap. It has to be quick. So like I'm used to jumping into conversations, and that gets me in a lot of trouble. So I would just like jump into these conversations. Of course, it's a bar in a college town, and people would say crazy things, and I would jump in and be like, "I'm sorry, I was just walking by, but now I have to know whatever this is about. I am now deeply invested in this." And hi, I'm Hannah, and they're like, "Oh my god, hello!" And then they would tell me the story. They'd catch me up, and I was like, "Okay." And then it would, then we'd chat back and forth, and I got a story for everything. And so like they would say something, I'd have a story, and I'd pitch something else to them, and we'd back and forth, and they would eventually end up where like people would come in that I would know, and they'd be like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Oh my god, hey, let me introduce you to my new friends." And then my like other people would come in, and then like whatever I was saying, because I'm always very animated, and I would be like, I'd do a bit and it would be loud, and then other people would be like, "What's going on?" They do the same thing that I did, but with me and these new people. And at one point I was like standing on top of a picnic table, and I was like, ah, and I was like telling the story, and I was leaning over the crowd. There's like 15 people around me at this point. And I've only been there for like 30 minutes. And I'm telling the story, winding it, this beautiful tale to the masses. And then I hear Hannah. And I look over, and behind the gate of the bar, my friends are just like standing outside the bar, be like, "What are you doing?" And I just stop mid sentence, and I go, "Oh, look, I made friends." And then they're like, "I see that." And I was like, "Well, come on in." And then I'd finish up telling out my story, and then they would be brought into the thing, and then they would say something ridiculous that I've done. And then it would be like, it's just a crescendo, a crescendo, crescendo, crescendo. So, like, don't be afraid to say something harmless in order to jump in, because a lot of times exchanges for vulnerability start with you submitting a vulnerability before you get any in return. You can't ask for somebody without proving that you're willing to partake.
Really? Okay, I have a few things to say from them. One, Jimothy really liked that advice, and he's now really thinking very hard on vulnerability and what all that means and how to not say too much at the beginning. Oh dear. Like what he just referenced. He was like, should I say how I died? No. That's probably
You
too
can work
vulnerable.
up to that.
You could work
But
up to that. Yeah, he's like, should I show him what I look like? I don't. It depends on if you're the group of ghosts. Some ghosts might be into that. Some ghosts might find it a bit much. Because I've seen that, and there's a number of holes, and part of this is it's just a lot. He doesn't typically walk around like that. But one time I was like, "How did it happen?" And he was like, "Oh well, I look like this," and I was like, "Wow."
you look great. You look great.
So that was his thought. He's going over that now. Another thing is when it's safer, I want to go to a karaoke bar with you.
For sure.
It's so fun.
Absolutely.
Put that on a live. Just like put the phone down with somebody like at the phone.
Literally, the two of us hanging out in the same space would be phenomenal and even more chaotic than whatever this live turned out to
right.
be.
And then the kicker, the final thing was Rupert, he just said, I don't like being vulnerable.
You sure you don't need my dating advice there?
He was like, I don't enjoy being vulnerable. I'm not saying you have to go up and be vulnerable in front of a lot of people. It's with somebody you care about, and you have been vulnerable. So we've talked about our past life together. That was vulnerable territory. I'm writing a book, so like there's been a lot of stuff that we've gone over. He's snickering a bit. He's just like, drink. Other thing I wanted to say was folks are talking about there's an orb that kind of went there. Now here's what I'll say, because I know in the paranormal investigation community orbs can be a variety of things. I didn't see a piece of dust go my way, but what I will say is I did kind of readjust in my chair a little bit, so I'm not discounting it because I do have a ring light. The other thing I will say is, so for my clairvoyance, it works differently from Hannah's, for example. I have inner eye clairvoyance, so I still see, but sometimes I have to focus a different way. It's not always physically with my eyes. What I can say is my dog Mira, who passed into spirit about 2 weeks ago, we haven't seen her around, and she was laying down here, and then at about that time, she walked over, and now she's over there. So call it coincidence, call it whatever you like, but the orb happened, and then I actually saw it, and that's when I tapped in, because I was listening to Hannah, but then I had to kind of backtrack into, oh, now I am channeling now, and when I looked up again, Mira was hanging out on the opposite side. So, for everybody who was like, orb! They're on a mediumship level, I can say a good maybe on that one. On a paranormal investigation level, well, we will have to replay the footage, and I'm going to be posting this on my YouTube, perhaps even by tomorrow. I think I will. I just have to put timestamps on it. But, yeah. And P.S., for anybody wondering, Mira is no longer in pain, and that's what matters the most to me. I still miss her very much in physical form, though she seems to be doing just fine. It's just we are going through an adjustment period, as you do when you shed a skin suit. So she's well taken care of, and I'm happy to report that.
That's so nice. That's so good.
And Jimothy's happy to have a dog. That was her. Can I? Okay.
The eye roll.
Yeah, I'm drinking for myself on that one because one short story. So there's a donut shop. It's owned by a lovely small like family, and they make potato donuts. And whenever a dog comes in, they're very dog friendly. They always give them donut holes, right? So we were going to her favorite donut shop. This was the last week that she was with us in physical form. And she was having some trouble getting there. So what do? This dog is like literally half my body weight, and I'm picking her up and like carrying her like down the street. And she's just, living. She's fine. But then Jimothy, he knows what's happening. Like he can pick up on doggo is passing. The body is getting weaker. And so he tells us to try and comfort us. This is Jay and me and Rosie, of course. And he says, I've seen a dog die. And I was like, okay, I don't know if this helps to know this. And he's like, yeah, I've seen it happen. And I said, okay, why are you saying this? And he's like, well, so you know that I know that I've seen it. And yeah, we watched that dog die. We hated that dog. I was like, okay, what? Huh? And he's like, yeah, it was just farm dog. It was so mean to everybody. It ate one of our chickens. It was just mean, didn't like a thing, and then it would take care of some of the chickens
too.
Yeah, just and so he tells us this story, and both Jay and I are like, we don't feel better, but we're not sad as we were, because we're just in shock over where did that come from. Like, he was like, oh, dog is getting sick. I saw my dog die. Like, so that happens, and then as she's starting to pass, and of course, like, it's this emotional thing, and we're all very close to her, and we're like holding her and telling her happy stories, and telling her, like, hey, you do what you want when you get over there. We will embrace you and support you, whatever you decide to do. And he's sitting there, and I can tell he's sad, but there's like this undercurrent of excitement, and I'm like, really, dude? Really? And he's like, well, yeah, because if she wants to stay, then I get a dog. And I was like, yeah, sorta. I mean, it's really whatever she wants to do. And he's like, well, yeah. I don't think she'll think that I'm weird once she's like me. And then we can play fetch, because I've always wanted to play fetch with her, and I've never been able to play fetch with her. So now I get to do that. So it's actually been beautiful. I'll tell, like...
Someone on my chat said, can I pet that dog? Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate that.
But yeah, he just, every now and then I will look up and I will see them just running around. And it's just one of those things. It's one of those things where it's almost like the imagery. At one point, I thought it was too beautiful. You know what I mean? I started to doubt my own abilities, because I was like, this is too perfect. Like, this makes me too happy to see, and I'm still grieving. And at one point, I actually called in Jay, and I was like, Jay, I need you to tell me where Mira is. I need you to tell me where she is and what she's doing. And he tapped in, and he was like, really? And I said, yep. Okay, so we're on the same, like, he described what was going on, and it was great confirmation for me, because I was just like, am I just... Oh, is that a Hannah sighting? Do we need to drink to the Hannah sighting?
We do need to drink for Hannah sighting.
Hey!
Hello. Drink. Cheers.
I was wondering, I was like, we made a rule about this, and there's been no other Hannah. So, I
was in the chat earlier.
I know, yeah.
I thought that might count. Hello. Hi, Jimothy. Is Rupert also still there?
He's in the door frame.
Hanging out?
Jimothy says hi. He says, hello, ma'am. He's like, I was like, we've talked about the other Hannah before.
Mira.
Oh my God. Well? He just went in, he was just like, oh, right, because it's a woman with another woman.
Yes.
You forget what lesbian means.
Also, we have matching tattoos now.
Ooh, yay! I think I saw that on your Instagram.
Show. Hold on. Ginkgos. Because they fall in one fell swoop. Which is how I fell for you.
Yay! Where are you going to go?
Hi, babe.
You need me?
No, I'm good.
Cool.
Thank you.
I'll do it.
So, somebody asked where Jimothy's sitting. He's here, and Roger is sitting on him. I'll tilt a little bit, but that's his head's like roughly there. Yeah, he's like, don't touch me. I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay. He was like, huh. So yeah, that's roughly where he's been.
That's so fun.
I
have one last bit of dating advice.
Please.
So we tapped into consent a little bit earlier, right? Consent is not only the option to say no, it is the consistent safety of taking that option, of being a safe person to say no to. And like, you can always give somebody the option to do something, but unless it's safe to do something, it doesn't really count. So you should focus on making yourself a safe person to say no to, who can respect that no or take a step back, because the option doesn't really count if they can't really take it.
I'm going to drink to that out of celebration for consent.
Consent. We love consent.
I will say in Jimothy's favor, so he has been hanging out with Fanny for maybe like 6 months now. And at the very beginning, I remember when I first started to pick up on Fanny, and it was about the time that I did the live with Molly, the first one at the coffee shop, which TikTok ate. It was on the first day of grade. Great planning on my part. But with that, we all knew that she was still coming into her own and, you know, having her own sentience. And the reason why she's having memory issues is because there's a lot of memories she doesn't want to remember. So it's getting past that trauma, which is why mental health is important. That is not to say that your trauma will follow you into the next life. It is saying that we should take steps for our mental health now, because it can carry over, and it will carry over in a great way. Unfortunately, now that I'm off that soapbox, because you and I have talked about that a lot. Yes. Fortunately, she's had a lot of good support, first of which was from Molly. Molly has very much taken her in and been like, you know, basically been like, she's my girl, but she's not a working girl, which I'm like, good. The other thing is Adam, who is Sorcia's spiritual companion, who I've mentioned a number of times. He is like a ghost counselor. I kid you not. He like finds spirits and like just listens to them and works with them on a constructive nature. And I'm like, this is a magical person.
That's so nice.
He's wonderful. So he's been working with her, but also I know Jimothy's been very excited about her. And I know that he has wanted to, you know, if he had his, you know, if he had his ways, he would rush into things and be like, I got a girlfriend, we're getting married. You know, like that would be him. But he has not. He has shown a significant amount of patience. He has shown great kindness. And he's like, you know, it's just like, I have. And that's huge. I never felt like he's pushed just because she couldn't say yes or no. I never felt like he pushed anything. And also he's terrified of Molly. So he definitely didn't want to push anything regardless, because she's convinced that Molly would somehow like kill him. Again, I don't know how that works, but yeah, he's very much just like, I wouldn't hurt Fanny one because either. Yeah. He's just like, I wouldn't do that because she's really nice and I really like her and I want her to like me. But two, I'm terrified of Molly. So.
Are you afraid of powerful women? Everybody drink.
Yeah, because he was just like, yes, ma'am.
Incredible.
So good.
My chat's like, that was so saucy.
Also, here's a wild comment. I what color is this? Because you can tell if a spirit's consumed the essence by the color of it, and it looks a lot darker than it was over an hour ago. But yeah, he's well into that. But anyway, he admitted, he was like, he just flat out said, he was like, she has earned my respect.
Ah, that makes me feel so good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's the consent. He's big on the consent thing. That even in past life, like I think he was pretty woke for the time for how he was on a lot of things.
Yeah, because none of this can happen unless you first have consent, and consent wavers over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like a no can happen at any time in any degree, and you have to respect it.
See, and all of you were like, "Oh, this is just about ghost dating advice," and as in two ghosts dating each other. Some people are like, "Are you dating?" But we're talking about.
It's just general advice that can that applies across all time
to humans. It's crazy. It's like whether they're in a skin suit or not. It's like they're humans or something.
I hate how you say skin suit. Whether they're lubed up in their skin suit. I hate that so much.
Ew.
That's disgusting. I'm just imagining like my bones rattling inside of a meat sack. And I do not like that imagery. That is mildly upsetting.
When you include lube on the skin suit, that's because you said lubed up, and I was like, "Oh,
there's nothing wrong with
no, there's
using a little
nothing
bit
wrong.
of lube.
Nothing wrong. I highly suggest it if it is needed, or as it is needed. I should say as it is needed. Oh, Rupert doesn't know what lube is. Well, that'll be education. At some point, I guess.
It's like there's nothing wrong with taking a drink if you're thirsty.
I'm just gonna and drink to that.
Drink to that.
Yes, I'm describing what lube is to him right now, just through pinging. Wow, he just said that would have been very useful.
You know what? Let me try to explain it. It's kind of like
I hate that sound. Like I know it happens. I hated it ever since high school. I didn't even understand why I hated it, but I knew it then. I was like, no. And he didn't get it. Wow, this is okay. We're not explaining that. I'm not explaining that. Just gonna let that go. Let it go. That's where I'm at. Okay. So yeah.
Incredible. My chat's like, drink.
Yeah, I'm because yeah.
Oh no. I was outbid for an owl picture. I've decided to be a patron of the arts. Right, we've decided to be patrons of the arts. Good. So we went to see a show. We went and saw Steel Magnolias, and then we went to a poetry reading at a coffee shop. And I'm now in auction sites looking for more art for my collection. So, and I just got a notification that I was outbid for this really nice owl.
I'm sorry.
Makes me sad.
I mean, it's not my fault, but I feel like it's the appropriate thing to say there. So.
Well, I just want to make our home as beautiful as she is. Why did you make that face? That was such a bad. Can you show them what you did? She went.
You have to curl the lip up.
I can't. How do you?
You can't do that?
Do it.
Eating. I went like.
That's an expression.
I thought it was a great line.
Yeah. That expression, yeah, is just my life. That's good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that.
Goodness. How many ghosts just lost their skin suits at the dry cleaner and had nothing else to wear?
Ooh.
I'm just imagining it being like from Men in Black with the cockroach guy. And he's like,
oh, right. I need a drink to the other Hannah being spotted.
Oh, yes. Yes. Other Hannah was spotted.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, I think we've been at Caspernova for an hour now. And then, of course, we talked for the first 20 minutes, which I'm always fine with. Um, and I feel like some really great advice was given. So I'm putting metaphoric claps for you, Hannah. That sounds really degrading when I do it like that. I'm going to do the sign language claps because that makes me feel better. Um, this I'm gonna give you some spirit fingers, and yeah, this has been cool. I can confirm for the guys that things have been learned. If not about consent, then certainly about lube.
That's the takeaway. No matter what, there's always lube.
He's still like, he's just like, yes, that sounds very practical. That sounds very good.
Just run it under some water. It'll be fine.
For like a few seconds.
I'm gonna take a drink of that.
See, I wish, though he probably wouldn't want to talk about this. I was gonna say, I wish that we could do a live with Kat, who is Spooktastics on my chat, and we could talk between your modern knowledge, any of the knowledge your spirits want to share, and Arnold's knowledge and Rupert's knowledge, more like a historical chat on what it was like to share intimacy in their perspective time periods. Like, what was protection looking like? How does one stay safe? How does one stay comfortable?
You don't want to know what it is. And I feel like you know what it is. It is, Rebekah, you know. They just shucked the inside out of a goat and then either took its skin or
Organs.
I don't know, just like stuck it in its belly button on the inside out and then just popped it in there. It's intestines and stuff.
There were other options too, and I learned about these on some very valuable YouTubers that cover these sorts of things in history.
My mod said, "Pull out and pray." That's a Catholic method. I would know all about that one.
Please God, do not make this baby.
Do not give the soul a skin suit. Allow it to remain bones rattling around.
So okay, Kat's on board for a live. We couldn't do it here, 3 on here. However, I'm gonna go ahead and out this, but I can't give too many details on everything. Kat and I are actually gonna be in the same vicinity again in not too long. So if we can collaborate,
Negotiate
a live between the 3 of us, I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would be so much fun. What if I also came into your vicinity?
Please. Both you and Hannah.
All 3 of us there would be insanity.
I'm like, poor Jay. Like, he would also be in on this. Like, he had rehearsal tonight, but otherwise he would like totally be like, yes. He was sad that he couldn't come. So all of us in the same spot, I think, would just be magic. And we just get this, all women paranormal investigation team off the ground. And we, instead of going into places and yelling at spirits, we go into places and talk to them about consent and safe sex. Like, pitch that as a TV show, being like, all right, ghosts, we want to talk to you about some choices that you made.
Instead of, come here, ghost, scratch me if you're here. You can go in with condoms and be like, now this is a banana. This banana represents you. This is what you do in order to be safe.
I just have an image.
Syphilis might have been a thing during your time, but it certainly will not be in this house.
Like, I see us going to like a sanatorium, right? And, everyone's like, it's the scariest one. There's so many dangerous ghosts there. And we just sit down, we put some carpet squares out on the ground, sweep it off a little bit so everything's safe. And then we just, pull out the...
What?
What?
She said we need pamphlets. And I was like, pamphlets of what? And she was like,
Wait, I'll bring the book. Somebody gifted Jimothy a book on it's meant for women during like their teens and tweens into teen years about how
what was it? Like it was like the book that every single the American Girl doll
or not doll
body book or whatever.
It's not nix the doll part.
American Girl body book, where it's like once a month when you will become a woman, you will bleed out in your yeah.
He's like, I don't like when you talk sexy like with that. Like,
when I got my period, my mom held a conference for all of our family friends, and I had to give a presentation on what it was like of being a woman now to all of our friends who were younger than me. And I was 12. And I was like, you 10-year-olds wouldn't know. I'm a woman now. Things can happen. The opportunities are limitless now because I, unlike you, am a woman.
Oof. That's
I grew up Catholic. I feel like that explains a lot.
I'm just gonna leave that be. I've got words and I've got feelings, and I don't want to express or say any of them.
So we'll go to a sanatorium. We'll bring them the American Girl
and
body
cookies.
book.
We should make them fresh cookies and be like, we're having a conversation.
Exactly. Get some tea. We can make it a whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll have a tea party with the ghosts and talk about how our bodies work.
See, and Kat is saying on my chat, she's just like, I just want to go to a sanatorium and treat them like people instead of the way that a lot of paranormal investigators treat them. And I'm like, yes, and that's why we bring cookies and picture books, because I think they would maybe bring like maybe bring some juice, and like put out a bunch of cups and pour out some juice and be like, hi everybody. We hear that a lot of people come in here and yell at you and say that you need to talk into devices, and we're not here to do that this evening. We have a picture book, and we have some cookies, and we have juice out, and we have little carpet squares, and we even cleaned up the area for you because it's dirty in here. So if anybody wants to sit down with us, like we are more than
exactly. Yeah.
This is why we need to be a paranormal investigation group, because
for sure.
Everybody else rolls in and they're like, talk to me, and then like Zach Bacon's like rips off his shirt, and I'm just like, no, we brought you.
Can I say, probably not. I don't know who's here. I pitched a sketch like that, and I was told we can't make fun of how paranormal investigators do their investigating. And I was like, but the whole making fun of yourself part is the funny part. But they thought that was too extreme.
So here's what we do. We don't actively go out to make fun of anybody. What we do is we set a new standard of treating human spirits like they are human and they have feelings.
Now, if you saw my last video on the Travel Channel, then you would know a kinder approach gets you better results. But seriously, honestly, legitimately is what it is. Where it's like, instead of being like, fuck you, ghost, you can literally just be like, hey, I see you. Drink. Hey, I see you. I'm here if you want to talk, but I also understand that we are complete and total strangers, and you might not be up for that. So if you're up for it, I'm up for it. But in the meantime, I'm a safe person to say no to. And I respect that choice.
We are going to be the revolution of the paranormal investigators, because we are going to show respect and we're not going to expect the spectacle. And because I know between you, myself, and Kat, we all have different abilities and skill sets when it comes to perceiving spirits. So we're going to be able to check each other, and also we're going to be tuning into different folks. So what we do is we get other people with tech who are cool and their energy is cool and they're fun to be with. So they just, you know, put the camera in the right spot, or they put the temperature thing in the right spot. I know Kat knows how to do that. And then we just have a nice conversation and we say hi. That's it. That's all it's gotta be.
Exactly. I really want to try the Estes method with the spirit box. I think that would be really cool.
See, okay, now I'm just like, yo, can you meet up with us? Do you want to go to Philly in a few weeks?
Sure.
Was that on your docket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's in Philly? Where are we going to go in Philly?
We don't know yet, and that's the point. We're just going to be like, so this is like a really famous haunted spot, but I'm really feeling this house that literally nobody talks about. Do you want to see if like a ghost might come outside and talk to us instead of us having to do like go inside there and bust up into their space? Just be like, because that's what I do when paranormal investigators are like, oh, we have to rent out the room and we have to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, yo, if they want to talk to me, they'll come outside.
Exactly.
I've done this in so many places.
Yeah. I had one guy, there was a guy on my porch because I have like a screened in porch. And I was just sitting out there in the middle of the night and it's like dark, the lights off because it was full moon, it was bright enough. And then there's just this guy who looks like he's from like a Christmas Carol, you know, that kind of dress where it's like the heavier coat. He has like a top hat. It's not top hat man, but he has like a thicker like beard and situation. And, you know, he's kind of like, and he just like looks at me and I'm like, I'm having my tea. And I'm like, hi. And he's like, and he like steps to the side and I like follow him with my eyes. And he's like, he steps to the other side and I follow him. He's like, I can see you. And he just goes like this. And I was like, I can see you. I'm not seeing through. Yeah, I can see you. And he just goes, oh. And he like disappears. Like, if they want to talk to you, they'll just like be there. Most of the time, they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I've had that happen a number of times where I'll be like, hi! And they'll be like, ah! And I'll be like, whoa, I didn't mean to scare you. And they're like, and then that's it.
It's like when you're walking on the street and a stranger you don't know goes, hey, how's it going? And you're like, good, how are you? And then you're like, do I keep walking? Have they initiated a whole conversation? Do I just, and then most of the time you have to just like make a quick decision. And you're like, I'm just going to keep going. Or like, I'm going to pretend my headphones were on and I was listening to music and not being hyper vigilant of everything that's going on around me because I am a female presenting person.
That's like at the Railroad Museum when I would open up, I would go down the boardwalk and every now and then some folks would, like spirit folks would pass by and I would just wish them good morning. And they would just be like, good morning.
Yep.
P.S. Kat is offering to teach you what is the method? Estes. How do you?
Estes.
Yeah, she has the equipment to do that. So more reason for us all to get to. Oh my goodness, we could do a live where you try it for the first time.
I think big things are gonna come of this. You want to go to Philly?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Why not?
Cool. I'll have my people talk with your people, and
yes, my people will talk to your people.
Yes,
they'll be alive. I promise.
yeah, same. I will not send my spirits to talk to your spirits because that gets weird and convoluted very quickly. So,
because John would just be like, "Who? No."
Wow. Okay. What? Rupert's he's like kind of mulling over. He's like, I would like to meet Hannah. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. That's great. And then he's just sort of like,
John, you're going to have to suck it up. We're going to go.
He's also like, and then she can see how tall I am. I'm like, yes.
So tall. Ridiculously tall. You can tell I've been drinking a little bit because my southern accent really comes out.
Oh, that was of interest. He was like, where are you from?
My mother's from Bossier City, Louisiana. My father's from Memphis, Tennessee. So I learned language from two of those people.
Um. Oh, the lights on in the walkway. I don't know. Wait, that one. Um. Kat mentioned it. A light turned on or something. I don't know.
A light turned on.
Or something. I'll wait for her, Kat to clarify on that one. Or it could have been Rupert has a tendency, he stands in front, so sometimes when he moves, people it sees. Okay. She's saying she feels electricity there. I think that's a reference to our grand meeting.
Oh, yes. All of the ghosts under in us, we're all like, what evidence was captured in this moment?
Right.
I'm sorry, I need to.
Well, folks, it has been a good time. My drink is empty, so I guess I can't play anymore, and I know I'm not going to refill my cup because I know that's my own level of consent with my own body. So, yeah, everybody, thanks for joining. This will be up on YouTube later if you want to check back on and see if you can see the ghost or just see the other Hannah, because, that's another reason to watch too. Are you done? Okay.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. I hope it was just as ridiculous as we pitched it to you as.
Yeah. Jimothy's over here. He's like, goodbye. And he's like, goodbye. I love you. Like, he's like, my fans. Like, he's just like, I'm famous. Like, that's really what he's doing. So yes, thank you, Hannah, for your expert advice for Ghost and everybody else alike. So
if you ever need any more situational, Jimothy, you just let me know. And I can tell you all the secrets.
He's more comfortable now. He's like, I think I will. And I'll have Rebekah tell you instead of having to go live all the time.
Yes, I definitely want to be kept up to date on this whole saga.
The poem. He's just like, and you're going to help me write a poem about how far I've come as a man. What?
I can do that. Absolutely, I can do that for you.
Yeah, goodness, now he's going to talk about my growth. Talk about how fought.
I don't know if I want to get into your growth that early on in the relationship.
As soon as I channeled that, I was like, that's not what he means, but it's going to be taken some way. Yeah, now he's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. It's embarrassing. So he means his emotional growth.
Yes, his emotional growth. I can definitely write him a poem. That would be incredible. Yeah, I will 100% do that.
Good. Okay, well, cool. We will chat later, and everybody else, thank you for watching this crazy live. Thanks for my mods, and yeah, we will catch you later.
Yes, thank you to my mods as well. Everybody go follow Rebekah if you don't already. Absolutely incredible. We'll definitely do another event. You'll see us together. Maybe in Philly. Who knows?
And everybody obviously follow Hannah. I say this all the time.
Incredible. All right. I love you, friend.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.